But do you know that unless there is an emergency where you can't help but send your wife off to work, men who stay home and become women,
Men can't stay home and become women.
Those very same women hate men because they hate the weakness of that man or men.
I haven't found that to be the case at all.
Believe me, it's true.
Certainly not the men in Nomos.
Because those are not real men. So once again, in short, what's wrong with the traditional gender roles?
I think that traditional gender roles constrain, they stymie, they restrict what any human being ought to be allowed to do.
Man, God is not going to be happy with you.
Apparently not.
You're rejecting God. You're rejecting your own identity. He's not going to be, hold on. Yes, he's not happy. Give me another example of sexism.
Donald Trump feeling cavalier about talking about grabbing women inappropriately.
But he did it as locker room talk, and that most men have done that. You never had that conversation?
Oh, yes. Let me start off by saying...
You have had that same conversation, right?
I haven't had that conversation.
But you've talked about what you would like to do to women in the privacy of men, when it's just you and other men around. In your lifetime, you have talked about sexually what you like to do to women, right?
I want to take that a different direction because...
give me an answer to that first, and then you can take it in another direction. In your lifetime, you have had that conversation with other guys.
I've been raised in a sexist society, so of course I've been handed a whole set of things that I'm supposed to
Give me a yes or no
do.
first. You have had that conversation, right?
If I understand what you're talking about, yes.
You have had it. And so does that make you a sexist?
Of course.
Really?
How could you be raised in the United States and not be a sexist?
I'm not a sexist, whatever that is. So it wasn't your sexual desires for women, or it wasn't your lust for women that did it. It wasn't the emotions, the mind and emotion that you felt. Somebody else taught you to do that.
I think sexism comes in with the groundwater. I think it gets from all those sources. It becomes an unspoken, unquestioned worldview assumption about how I am expected to, certainly the Christian tradition has the expectation that men are supposed to control women. I think that gets played out with Donald Trump feeling like he can control the women at his beauty pageants.
So when you were having your locker room talk about sex and women, were you feeling like you can control women?
That's a piece of what I'm expected to do.
No, were you feeling that way? That at the time when you were hanging out with your buddies, and you're like, man, I sure would like to do Sally Lou up. Wow, she's fine. Was that your desire to control women?
It's a piece that objectifies women and says, I want that,
but
not as a person.
Right, but
I'm not
that,
interested in that. I'm just interested in her and her physical form,
right,
because of what I'd like to do to her physical form.
Right.
Yeah, I got that whole thing.
You were feeling like, at the time when you were having this conversation, you were thinking, wow, I would love to control that woman, or were you thinking, I would love to have sex with that woman?
In that place, those are so intimately connected, it would be hard to tease out.
Which one were you thinking?
To say I'd like to have sex with that woman is the same thing as saying I'd like to control that woman. I'd
Really?
like to make this happen, not as another person. Because it's a very different thing to say, I would like a relationship to develop between the two of us where that would be the sort of thing that would feel natural, normal, and healthy.
That's not even reality.
But
What about when women say those things about men? Wow, he's so handsome and fine. I sure would like to rock his world.
Sure.
Are they saying that they want to control the man?
Because we're talking about a false equivalence, I think you're talking as if the man and the woman in that situation are on equal footing.
But when women are saying those same exact things about men in the locker room, are they saying they want to control men? And is that sexism?
The disempowered group, whatever that group is, always has strategies, tactics, methods to try and either preserve their lives, preserve their jobs, try and get ahead, kind of work within the situation.
Give me a yes or no. When women are having locker room talk about men, how they want to get rid of them and rock their world and do that, are they saying they are trying to control, they want to control men?
I think
yes or no? I'm black and I'm slow, so you have to give me a yes or no. So are they saying that they want to control men?
I don't think so, not in the same way.
Really? And is that sexism?
I don't think women can be sexist.
Is that sexism, yes or no?
No.
That is mind-blowing. So when women do it, no problem. When men do it,
I didn't say it was
sexism.
wrong.
But
I mean,
you're not calling. Why would you not be fair and balanced?
The difference in power in the social structures,
But
I
they're not-
think,
they're not
requires a
in power.
different language.
These are women who are in power. They're in the locker room. And they're saying the exact same thing that men say. And you say, no, that's not sexism or the desire to control men?
I'm saying that the language that I use about women talking about men and the language I use about men talking about women ought to reflect the different power relationships within a male supremacist society.
That is so insane. Your language is deceiving. That is mind-blowing to me. That's not honest language.
I think I'm trying to use language responsibly, and that lays, you can use the passive voice. You can say a man hit a woman, or you could say domestic violence occurred. and domestic violence occurred is in the passive voice. It hides who is the perpetrator. And so I'm trying to use accountable language, and that's just one example.
Why not just use the truth? If it's domestic violence when men do it to women, it's domestic violence when women do it to men.
And I'm trying to, I understand it's a subtle distinction.
Why not just be honest about this thing rather than trying to make the woman a little nicer and make the man look like a bully? You keep using the phrase, a man-dominated society. What do you keep saying?
Male supremacist society.
What does that mean?
Our society is patriarchal. The whole history of the society, men were allowed to vote before women were allowed to vote. I mean, all of those pieces, we have been moving in a direction which is more egalitarian. There's more parity between men and women, but we aren't there yet.
Do you realize by going against men that you're going against your own nature? You have decided, you know what, I don't like being a man. I don't like my nature. I'm going to go against it and fight with women who hate men.
Actually, I don't think that at all. I don't hate being a man.
But you're going against yourself.
I'm going against what a male supremacist society says is my
self-interest. But that doesn't even exist. There's no such thing as a male supremacist society. That's just said in order to control men.
In order to control men?
Yes.
How so?
You say male supremacist society. That's not positive.
No, I don't think it's positive.
And you made up something that doesn't exist.
When only men can vote.
But women can vote. They've been able to vote ever since.
Yes. Was it a male supremacist society once?
That's not now. It's never been a male supremacist society. But there was a time when boys were boys and men were men. Men led the way. And women who love being women followed that way because they knew it was the right way. And then you got these godless women who hate men. They're trying to change that order, and you're going with them.
I think feminists love men and want what is best for women. Yes, they do.
No, they want to
what's
get
best
rid of
for
men.
women. They do not want.
If that were true, then they would respect the women who love men, who get married, who want to raise their family, who want to be a woman. They attack those women. And so if there were 4 women, they wouldn't go against those women. But I got to ask you, your organization, NOMAS, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Website says you seek liberation from traditional gender roles.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Traditional gender roles saying, for example, that men have to be the breadwinner and women have to be the children caretaker. I mean, all of those traditional stereotypical roles that get assigned based on either actual plumbing or the perception of plumbing, Nomos is interested in ending that.
But do you know that unless there is an emergency where you can't help but send your wife off to work, men who stay home and become women,
Men can't stay home and become women.
Those very same women hate men because they hate the weakness of that man or men.
I haven't found that to be the
No,
case at
believe
all.
me, it's true.
Certainly not the men in Nomos. I would
Because
like
those
to
are not real men. So once again, in short, what's wrong with the traditional gender roles?
I think that traditional gender roles constrain, they stymie, they restrict what any human being ought to be allowed to do.
Man, God is not going to be happy with you.
Apparently not.
You're rejecting God. You're rejecting your own identity. He's not going to be, hold on. Yes, he's not happy.
Funny, that's not what I hear when I talk to God.
He is not happy. Nomos has, according to your website, Nomos has many tenets. Tell me about them.
Pro-feminist, understanding society to be fundamentally male supremacist, patriarchal, and working to end that. LGBTQ affirmative. A lesbian couple, we think that's fine. We're affirmative. A gay couple, we think that's fine. We're affirmative. Trans, bi, queer, and then folks said, you know, there's a lot of white folks doing this. And because it was an organization for men, the idea of being pro-feminist, gay affirmative, anti-racist, that was going to enhance men's lives.
Do your father know you feel this way?
Oh yeah.
Is he like this too?
I think so. I mean, he's pretty liberal.
Oh, yes.
I don't know that he would be. He's politically, and he would be sympathetic to the guidelines of the structures of feminism. I don't know that he would be part of this organization.
When women take off their female body parts, you know, they go to the doctor cut them off, cut it off, and then you look over here, you get the parts of a male, and you attach them to the woman. That seem normal to you?
Transgender is among the most complicated issues in a society that benefits men over every other understanding of gender. But I dare not say to someone else, this you can and cannot do with your own body.
Give me a quick yes or no. Does it seem normal to you?
It's certainly more normal now than it was 50 years ago, yes.
So does it seem normal to you when you have to cut off your body part and put on somebody else's part?
I would have a long discussion with each individual person and say that. But
Does that seem normal to you?
You've got too much hidden in the word normal.
What do you mean?
I don't know what you mean by normal.
Does it seem normal to you that you will have to, as a human being, you will have to cut off your physical parts and take on some other gender's parts?
I hope that everyone can.
No, I didn't ask what you hope. I'm asking, does that seem normal?
Yeah, and I'm going to still go with hope. I hope that everyone gets to behave the way they want to without social sanction.
But does it seem normal?
It's not common.
Do you like being a man?
Yes.
You do like being a man, but thinking like a woman.
I don't think I think like a woman. I think like a man.
No, you don't. I'm here to tell you, you don't.
I think what you're trying to say is I appear to be thinking in feminine ways.
No, you think like a woman.
I don't think so.
I want to be real clear.
Okay.
You think like a woman.
And I think like me.
I understand that. Last